You? Marcia,
Yes.
good. I had a feeling you'd be coming. Well, I don't know these days, and soon maybe not, so.
No, this will probably be the last one in person for a while.
All right, so we're gonna need some changes.
Well, Bill said I could do it too.
Yeah, but it won't give us a form, that's what I'm worried about.
Well, Jude's gonna have to show up then.
Someday. Form's not enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that works for filling in person. We can, then we can do it, but.
What about Joe?
He's been here a while later. Because I'm stuck on a plane right now, so we need
Right.
at least one more person.
Well, you can replace me if you want to.
Want to replace me, but yeah,
No, you cannot do, we won't let you.
but to die.
Yeah.
Hard to move. Here in New Mexico is nice.
Let's hope my thing, I have a new phone. I said to turn off the volume so I can look at the stuff here.
Yeah, you okay? Do you mind?
Can they hear us?
They should be able to. I am muted.
I'll talk to you later about it all.
All right. Well, I understand your position, what you're doing. I guess we just have to get the other people to,
Show up.
yeah.
And I'm
And I
not,
spoke to Michael, I can't do a head count every week. I'd rather not, I forgot to do
Right.
it today. It would be kind of embarrassing if we had a meeting.
right,
That's just Michael and I said.
Right.
That's,
um,
you know,
so there's Joe and Jude.
it's a-
Can we get another alternate?
Hmm?
Can we get another
I don't think you
alternate?
can do an alternate. Well, I guess if he comes as an alternate, he chimes in, then that's fine too. So.
Yeah, because you have a quorum with an alternate.
Yes, I'll have to talk to the powers that be, to the rule makers.
I'll talk to Jude too.
No. No,
Okay,
we
so
just
I
won't
gotta
set-
find it on
no,
my
we don't
phone
get
then.
that anymore. I get it.
You get them.
I get it.
You get them.
Okay.
A lot of hearings and decisions.
Yeah, I said, why don't you have it over here, pointing here? He said, oh, no, we lose the signal. I said, okay.
Okay.
I don't want to ask too much more, they'll have me set it. All right. I'd like to call the Woodstock Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order for May 11th, 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a quorum, Gordon Wemp,
Michael Castiglione.
Marcia's willing.
and on Zoom, we have Jude, I don't think we can hear you.
Can't hear you.
Jude Salato.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I would like to submit the minutes for 2023. That was the special meeting we had. Submit them for approval. The ones that were sent to us, there were a couple of minor clerical errors that we repaired.
Right.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Okay, let's get on with our public hearings. We have ZBA case 2312, application of Victoria Wilkinson for property located at 8 Woven Lane, Woodstock, New York, 12498, a 0.33 acre parcel located within R 1.5 zoning district for a variance from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 5, supplementary regulations, section 260-32A, fences, walls, and gates, to allow the construction of a 6-foot high fence in the front yard. Only 4-foot fences allowed. Do you want to come up here and because you're closer to the mics, and then you can pass us any papers if you're not in narrative of what you're doing here.
So I
State your name
applied,
for the record,
my
please.
name is Victoria Wilkinson, and I live at 8 Wolven Lane in Woodstock.
Thank you.
And Wolven Lane is a dead-end private lane that belongs to Barbara Balsamello, my neighbor. There are about 4 houses on Wolven Lane. My house is one. I wanted to build a fence in 2021. I talked to Barbara first, told her what I wanted to do. She was okay with it. So I came here and applied for a permit with the previous building inspector, told her what I wanted to do. She okayed it. I got the permit. I had the fence built. And then I don't know what happened. Somehow it slipped through. Maybe it was COVID, maybe it was between building inspectors, but it never got inspected, and it's my fault that I didn't follow up. I know, but now the permit has expired, and the new building inspector came and looked at it, and he was like, "Well, it's 6 foot, you know, it's 6 foot, and it goes down to 4 foot, and then there's nothing."
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
existing.
It's existing.
Well,
That's
does
what
it
I'm
say
trying to
that?
explain to you.
It doesn't say that in the,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Was it Ellen that approved it and she
Yes.
understood what you were doing
Yes.
and that it was a front yard?
Yes, she even came and had a look, and I talked to her about it. And I did check with my neighbor Barbara, she's the one it would impact, only the other person. And she was totally for it, and she actually has submitted a letter to you, to, I believe,
The original permit.
yeah, it's in the
Yeah, I
package.
have it. yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If I could just see that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you have a copy, Gordon?
Well, it's not a copy. No. It's actually Michelle's. I don't want to take any paper, legal documents away from you.
So my neighbor has written a letter to you. I don't know who has it. But
Yeah, it was sent to us. It was
Okay,
distributed.
so you have it.
Yes.
So totally supports me, and it doesn't affect anyone else. It's a dead end private lane in Woodstock. And so I'm
So the
hoping,
fence runs along Wolven Lane?
no, I can show you I can show you a photograph, or I can show you on an aerial map or a survey. Which would you prefer?
Well, the thing that shows us most of in real time of what we're looking at. But we have.
That's my
some stuff
survey.
here.
Do you want to?
Where's the fence?
So this is an aerial map, and this is 212. This is Orchard Lane here, and Wolven Lane is a private lane that goes like this. It's
Is that the
dead
little
end
horse- is
here.
that this little horseshoe here, this little,
No,
no, where's Wolven?
Wolven is, it actually goes,
Oh, okay, so like,
it actually,
okay, this is that shape here.
yeah, so Wolven Lane comes down here and goes that way.
Right, like this little,
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dead end. That's
right,
it.
the
Yes.
little white.
So-
look like.
So Barbara owns the other 3 houses here, or 4 houses, and I own this one.
Show us with your finger where. the
It
fence-
goes from about here
Mhm.
to not all the way to the end. So it's that small piece along here.
So
But
what are
because
they
I don't
calling your?
have a backyard, if you can see from this, my property line goes all up to the house. I don't have a backyard. So the fence goes from here to about here.
Oh, so it goes here.
Yeah,
Now, then they're calling, where are they calling the front yard on your house?
well, that's the thing. It's this, they're calling all this the front yard.
Mhm. So that would be This side
here.
being the front yard, but the
Yes.
fence goes over here.
The fence goes
That's
over.
the
No, it's
side
really
yard.
on the side yard. That's probably why
Does it
she
go,
approved
does it
it.
go
Yeah.
past the front of the house?
No,
Oh,
no.
Oh, so-
So this is
and you
why
can't see it from 212, so
You
I
can't
can't
see
see
it.
how you would,
you
it
can't.
doesn't really,
she probably approved it because it was probably a side yard, kind of like the one on Orchard Lane where the entrance was really facing the yard, even though the house was on Orchard Lane.
right, well, I guess we gotta put some eyes on it.
The building permit says it's approved as sketched.
Right, and
This
this,
sketch-
so I came to the building department and I after, and she looked through the file and there was no sketch. The only sketch that I can find, and I don't know if it's what they have on record, this is what I have in my file, is that I did this, a little dotted line, but I don't know if that's what you have in the file, because as far as Angela, she has nothing in the file, so I don't know what happened. I don't
You
know.
don't have a sketch. that-
Mm.
That's all I've got in my file.
All right, well,
Yeah.
I don't think we've anybody signed this. Anybody like to do this one?
I'll do it.
Okay. All right, because, yeah, just take a look and I mean, understand what we're seeing.
Yeah, it sounds like it's similar to the other case where it's not really the front yard. It's
Right, well, we have a
side
lot of
yard.
properties
But
like
I'll
that
go,
there.
I'll come look at it. I'll just drive.
They're
by and take a
landlocked
look.
and they're not really, yeah.
You had approval to put in the fence,
Yeah,
you put in the fence.
yeah.
And now someone's saying the fence
Well,
is,
Butch is saying it's not legal the way he's saying it.
the fence is too tall.
It's 6 foot, then it goes down to 4 foot, and then it stops, and then there's a gap until you get to the end of Auburn Lane. So it's not like, I understand why sometimes they need 4 foot close to an edge of a road,
Mhm.
even though this is a dead end. I left plenty of room for visibility for cars. There's no issue with that.
Okay,
So, yeah.
I'll
Well,
take a look at it this week,
okay.
Okay.
over the weekend. I'll drive.
Okay.
Are there, Jude has a question?
I do.
Tomorrow, by the way,
Hold
that-
on, hold on,
they're
hold on.
filling
hold-
potholes, so
hold
you're not
on.
gonna get through.
Okay,
Yeah, is that it?
no.
Okay.
Jude, you have a question?
I have a question. So you're saying part of the fence is 6 feet and part of the fence is 4 feet. Why is this section that's 4 feet, 4 feet?
Because it's closer to the edge of Wolven Lane.
I see.
And so just when you're reversing out, if someone were to reverse out or something, I'm aware that you need visibility. And so I made sure that the fence is set back from the road several feet. And then when it does start, it's at 4 feet. And then as it gets well back into my, property, it goes up to 6.
I see. And the purpose for the 6 feet? I would like to come out and look at it, just because it's hard
Well, I have several issues, deer, and I have flowers and bushes, and they eat my plantings. Trying to beautify the area, trying to create a sense of privacy, because the houses are, there's a house quite close next door. So it's my neighbor who owns the houses thinks it looks beautiful. I think it looks beautiful. I really, it'd be cost me a lot of money now to have it cut down, and I'm really hoping I don't have to. It's like, I'm really, really hoping.
I just was curious. I would like to look at it. I could go out with you, Marcia, if you want. If we can work it out.
You? Oh, I don't know why it muted. I think it was doing that last meeting. Love this.
You couldn't hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
We get the
Gordon?
two mics.
So do we have to amend the application to say legalize then the fence instead of an application for a variance?
What it sounds like.
No, it's still.
Yeah, to lay guys, I mean, it's also saying it's a front yard, so what we're seeing on the map, it doesn't look like a front yard, so we have a couple of issues here. We have to determine whether this is. So,
Okay.
This might be one where it's more of to get a interpretation more than, but let's take a look, because we can always amend it at the next meeting if we need to, I think. We'll see what's going on.
Okay. Do you need me back at the next meeting?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
No.
No, we do this, and it looks like we're getting close to the end, and we would close the public hearing. We can still receive any documentation and written response from letters or whatever. But we won't be meeting again in public, because we have to publish that, so we can't just willy-nilly open a public meeting, so. And then we will open the meeting, we'll recess the case, and then we have our information together, we'll vote on it. And quite possibly by the next meeting, but we get
Yes.
backed up a little bit, so a month is not been, although March is pretty quick.
Very quick, so I'll come down and look at it, or have it written up.
All right. If you
But
have any
it's already
questions-
existing, so there's no urgent need anyway.
Right.
Yeah. If you have any questions.
Okay, we have your
I
information.
think that's it.
Yeah.
You want to read the contiguous neighbors, Michelle?
Barbara Balsamelo, P O Box 2639, Lexington, South Carolina. She's the one who sent in the letter of approval or in support. 212 Redevelopment Corp., P O Box 512, Rhinebeck, New York. Oh, and Post Office, 2 Woodstock Meadows Lane in Woodstock.
Okay. Is anybody in public that wishes to comment on this case? No, so with that, I would like to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. And with that, I'm going to recess case 23-12. Favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
Marcia will be in touch with you, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I can just drive by.
She can just drive by,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see everything.
Yeah.
Okay, if you need me.
Okay,
Cheers.
thanks.
Thank you. Double done. There it is. Moving on. ZBA case number 23-13, application of Mark Census, is that correct?
Yes.
As represented by Jess Walker, Walker Architecture, 59.
We lost you, Gordon. Can't hear you guys.
I hear you.
Your default.
Okay, now you're back.
Okay, yeah, we're coming. What's going on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but I couldn't hear anything else.
What?
We could hear you, but I didn't hear anything else.
There's nothing else to hear except me.
Hey,
Yeah, but a thing keeps coming up saying our default microphone, is blah, 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 it keeps popping on the screen. Okay, Michelle, maybe. you
Maybe
can
don't
get some-
touch the
Huh?
mouse.
I'm not touching it. I touched it now to turn the screen
Right.
on.
But it just did it by itself.
No, I'm playing with everybody. I don't know what's going
It
on.
could've been
Michelle,
like-
could you have that checked out possibly, but we have an IT man who could check out? what's
Yes,
going
I'll
on?
do that tomorrow. I'll ask,
How is everything working now?
You can hear us.
yes.
Yeah, it May have squelched out as they were moving the chairs up to the table.
yes.
We're Noisy lot. But we won't
Yes.
hold it against them. I'm gonna read this over again because I've been, just for the record. Application of Mark Census as represented by Jess Walker, Walker Architecture, 59 Middle Hill Road, Woodstock, New York, 12498, for property located at 50 Broadview Road, Woodstock, New York, 12498, a 2.1 acre parcel located within an R3 zoning district Per variance from the zoning law, the town of Woodstock, Article 4, area and bulk regulations, modification of required yard, section 260-26B to C, for 22 infringement into a minimum required 50-foot rear yard setback in order to construct a 352 square foot studio with attached carport. Mr. Walker.
Nicely done.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm gonna start and then Mark will chip in and Jess will chip in, and feel free to interrupt me. The site is really a tough site. It's a little bit over, I'm sorry about the size of this, but it's
Okay.
a little bit, it's sort of a 2.1 acre site, a little more than an acre here, a little less than an acre here. So we have, I remember talking with Schultz, we had to choose one of these lines to be the rear property line and one to be the side yard, when in fact, both of them should be a side yard, because you come down here and you got two side yard. But we chose this one. I remember choosing this one, but we didn't. We chose this one to be the rear yard line.
Mhm.
And when you come in here, you come in and then you come down. So it's really tight in here for a car to turn around. So we want to put the building, which has a carport and it's a painting studio. We want to put it right where the black crosshatch line is. And legally, we could put it where the red is, but if we put it where the red line is, we couldn't move a car around. When you go there, you'll see the cars will really have a hard time using it. And when we put it here, it just barely works, but it works well.
Mhm.
I just sketched in some trees here right now. This is where the trees are.
And is this hill here or what?
There's like a 20-foot drop in here.
Behind the setback
The
here.
what?
What is on the other side of
The
this?
50 yard is here.
There's Woodstock Riding Club is here, and then there's another the back of a residence here.
It's a 2.1 acre lot.
That's the property.
It's
It's
an
Okay.
undersized
very awkward
spot.
shape. That's the issue.
Right.
Okay, and that's Woodstock Riding. Club.
Right.
Yes.
And you want to put it where on here? Okay.
You can see this is the line for the Woodstock Riding Club. This is Jeff Savell.
This is
Living on this
easier to
side.
look at, Gordon.
He's got a bigger one. If this was a rectangle, it would be a much easier site to do
Right.
it, but we have two big
Right.
pinches in the middle,
With a
and
hill.
it just makes it very
Right.
difficult.
Yeah.
So it's going to be right here,
We
basically.
just
Yes.
need the space for a
Yeah.
car to turn around. That's all.
And some breathing room between the buildings.
The fact is, if we do move it 20 feet this way into the variance line, it's more hidden from the tree and with the trees than it would be if we put it where we legally can put it. So it seems like it's a no-brainer to me to put it here, because the main reason to put it there is so a car can turn around.
Correct.
When you go there, you'll see that.
Any questions, or do you want anything else, or we'll just bounce off?
No,
the
it
questions?
looks,
Marcia, Mike, Jim,
looks pretty straightforward to me.
you were able to, do you have a map of this, you were able to follow?
I did look at the map, so I could see the difficulty because of the shape of the lot. My question is,
The bow tie.
I would have to see it, but that's all I have to say right now. I mean, it's just like they're asking for a variance for the studio and the carport, wondering if they did one or the other, would they still need the variance? Do they only need the variance because they're doing both?
They're the same building, if they're integrated together. It's a small studio and it's one car carport. Built
No, I
as
understand,
one
but
building.
you understand what my question was?
Yeah.
Okay, just wondering if you did one or the other, that would
Still have
eliminate the need for the
3
variance.
feet
Timer's taking me here.
setback.
We would still want the variance.
If you we're only doing one of them, you would still want the variance?
Yeah, it's just too close to the existing building. There's no breathing room between them. Even if it was half the size, it still wouldn't work. And the driving circle, the turnaround would be very difficult. If you go there, Jude, you'll see that you can't
Okay.
turn a car around.
Okay, so my question is, what are they doing now?
I didn't hear that.
Well, you can turn the car around, but they just don't have a carport. Because they want enough room to put the building so they can still
Yeah.
utilize the turnaround space.
Okay.
I imagine, am I right? And if you
Yes,
brought it in, if you brought it in to make it a legal building, then they could not turn.
We
around.
would have a really hard time turning a car.
it would
around.
also just be crowding each other too much. It's just not very nice.
Right.
If you look at the aerial map, Jude, it makes more sense what they're asking for.
Satellite photo.
Right, you're
Yes.
talking right here.
And you
Here's
still
the
have
house.
33 feet
Yes.
setback, so I don't,
Yeah, it's right here,
Yes.
yeah.
I can email these to Michelle if you want to pass them.
It's perpendicular to the house, so it'd be, here's the house. It's right
Yeah.
here, right in the left part of the hotel.
And our argument is it's more hidden from all, the if we do move
Tuck
that.
it back.
that 20 feet.
I'll just throw in.
Did you, is that in here,
This?
the area?
No, you can have it and I'll email it to Michelle.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna take a copy of the aerial shot, Michelle. Should I label it anything?
it'd make a little box on it where it is, so Jude can see.
Exhibit, they take this one?
Sure.
You have the site plan, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. I got all
I
kinds.
drew the trees.
And
on
the
here.
studio isn't like an Airbnb, it's for art, correct?
Right. Tati's a painter. She's
Okay.
exhibited recently at
You want
Berkeley.
this?
Oh, cool.
No, we have them all here.
Nice.
We have the large one too. and yeah, over.
If I might just make a couple of comments.
Please.
Stay,
Um,
stay.
This is Mark Sensitz, the owner of the property. It's a very small house. It's barely 1,000 square feet. We like that. We want to have a small footprint here. Like my life partner Tati is a painter. She's exhibited recently at Berkeley and she's doing a summer residency there as well. It's one of the reasons that we came to the Woodstock area is that we, really enjoy the art scene and want to participate in it. So the minute we bought the house, I began speaking with Les and Jess, who designed and this house 20 years ago. And I said, could we integrate a small studio that in the same style, same sort of look of the house, so that it would fit gracefully on the property. And I think as Les said, we were all under the impression that the lot line we were working toward was the side lot line, and we had the 25 feet, that we needed. So it was a surprise, literally the day that the excavators came out and we staked it out. We asked the zoning officer to come out and he pulled up the old file and saw that that was the rear lot line, not the side lot line.
But
It's to the side of our house. It feels like a side lot line to us, but I understand, from a zoning perspective, there's certain rules. So I guess what we're asking is, is to, in a sense, treat it like the intention of it, which is that it is to the side of the house. This property will not be illuminated at night. And my guess, it's gonna be for painting during the day. It's a small carport, a little bit of storage, and that's really, right now, my car sits outside, which in the winter around here, can be a problem. So I don't think we're looking for a lot here. We're looking for a small accommodation to fit this on. As Les said, when you drive down the driveway, you'll see if you don't make the turn in the right direction, then you're driving back up a slope to try to get into a carport. It would be quite awkward. Thank you for considering it.
If we would have made this line the rear and this the side, everything would be legal because we're 50 feet from this, the house,
25 feet from now.
and 25 feet. We want to be 28 feet from this line, so it would all work.
It certainly is an odd lot, it's like.
We declared it that way and 20 years ago, and that's the way the law
All right,
is.
so we need somebody to represent. Case?
Gordon?
Me?
Yeah, this is a good one for you.
Sure,
If we
all
might,
right,
if we might make a comment.
not yet, don't worry,
We're on our
we have
way
a
to that.
process.
Yeah, it seems,
Wait, who's the site coordinator?
Excuse me? Yeah.
Who's
it's
the
me.
site?
Yeah,
Gordon, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Yeah, it's not a drive-by, so I'll probably give you a call. Are you around?
We're around, I mean, immediately or like in general?
In general.
We both work, so.
I'm not going tonight.
Yeah. I can make myself available. for you.
What's afternoons, mornings, what's best?
You know, the best is we do each have activities still down there in New York City, so kind of middle of the week we're there, but we're here Fridays and Mondays in general. We have some travel coming up, but
We could meet you then.
We can meet you there.
All right, yeah.
If you need, do you need somebody there?
No.
Why don't you just give them
Just wants
permission
yeah, absolutely.
to go
And
anytime? Just
Okay.
the idea to see
the
ground.
proposed
All right,
site
that
is,
works best, because
Yeah,
Shoot
I
me,
never
shoot
know
me an
when I
email.
have a
Shoot me an
spare
email.
moment, so.
the proposed site is actually staked. There's 4
Oh.
stakes in the ground, so you can see what we're looking
Beautiful.
for.
All right,
It's good.
okay, I have a good
Great.
sense of proportions. All right. So with that, Michelle, can you read the contiguous neighbors?
Linda and
And if
Carlton,
you're, excuse me, Michelle, and if you're here for one of the contiguous neighbors, just raise your hand if you wish to speak. Michelle, go ahead.
Linda and Carlton Tritt, 45 Broadview Road, Woodstock, New York. Maureen and John Doss, 40 Broadview Road, Woodstock, New York. Carla Richards, P.O. Box 123, Saugerties, New York. Woodstock Riding Club, P.O. Box 726, Woodstock, New York. They did send a letter in opposing the project.
No, they're here and they wish to speak. So
Okay.
we'll pause on the list and we'll see what they have to say.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My turn?
Yes.
Like I said.
You need to come up, so.
I'm Jane Booth from the Woodstock Riding Club. I'm a board member. And when we got the letter, we had a meeting. And what we're objecting to is the variance. The architect said that it would be hidden by the woods. Then I don't see where that makes any sense for the property owner. Cut down his trees and our trees to make a view. So, and I would like to see where the building is going to go, because if it's with the view that he created by cutting down our trees, that's what we're really objecting to. And he has, our attorney has sent him letters and he has not
Okay,
responded.
let me hold up right there. If you have other issues with the
Yeah.
owner, we're not here to hear any of that. We're here only on merits of the building and the variance proposed, okay? You have any other problems, they're not to be
Nope.
litigated.
So our problem is if it's on our edge, he's eliminated our privacy. And so, and you can see that when we drive to that property, if it's on our edge, it's not back in the woods, he cleared the trees out.
Okay, now, my question to you is this 20-foot difference if the building is 22 feet way or that way going to make a bigger impact on your?
If it's on the edge there with a view, which I'm assuming it is, that does make a difference because.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by edge. You want
There's
to
a
take a look at
50
this?
there's a
Here, why don't you come up?
50-foot
Take a
setback.
Take a look.
So it's gonna
This
be
is the
there
view
whether they
now.
do
See,
it
it's right
legally
through
or
the
not
view right
legally.
now, through there. We're coming this way, so these trees are gonna hide it.
Maybe
This
show
is-
her
this
on
is
this
the-
one.
Those trees are gonna hide it.
Yeah, because we're bringing it this way.
It will be over here.
This is where it would be
South.
legally.
There's an
Because-
aerial map.
because-
Legally, we can do it in red.
Okay, because he has cut,
We don't,
It's going that way.
but, okay,
show them on this one,
Going
maybe
towards
she
this
can see.
property.
where's the riding club?
The riding club's here.
Right there.
So
Yeah,
we're
so it is
moving it to
behind.
right there.
Yeah, it's behind this group of trees. There.
No, that's no longer there.
It's more behind these trees.
If,
I
when you
think
go,
that there's a clearing is over here.
when
These trees are
you
still
go
here.
out to look, those are no longer there. So it's really invading our privacy.
But they can still put it up. We're just talking about a 22-foot difference.
And it's
So
gonna be
it's still
further
gonna,
that way, further, so, it's gonna be further this way, not this way.
Right.
The red is where they can put it legally,
Mhm.
closer to your view. This goes further this way into, here's their parking lot now. They're gonna put it over here, back in here.
Yes, I admit that this property is very oddly shaped.
Yes, it
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, but,
You're right here. This is your line, and then that property goes that way.
yeah, that's our line.
so actually, if they put it legally, it would be more in your view than if we give them the variance.
Because this is the view right through here.
Okay, and where do you want to shift it over
We
to?
don't want to do it in the red, which is legal.
Okay,
We want it to be in the black,
With the cross.
which brings it more into the trees. Well, we can put it here, but it'll make you happier here, I promise you.
okay,
There also needs the assurance.
This is a no smoke zone.
oh, yeah.
Slow smoke. Yeah.
There's to be no dumping on our property either,
Which also has happened.
which also has happened by him.
Well, like I said,
I know.
that sounds like something I don't even want to talk
You
about.
don't
Except-
want Mark
well,
to answer that?
Except that.
No, I don't want
You don't wanna hear
to
that?
talk
Except
about
No,
it.
that-
this is not about a, this is about a
Construction
variance.
debris.
That's what I thought.
If
They're not,
construction
they won't go over the
debris
property line,
is,
they're not allowed to.
okay, not a little bit,
No.
no, not even touching,
No, they're going 20 feet into a 50-yard setback.
Yeah.
So that means it's still be 30 feet
okay.
back from the.
In that way.
from
We're really going 22.
22.
It's 20.
22
So,
feet.
yeah.
In that way.
Yes.
Well, it would be nicer if he,
Well, Woodstock is an artist colony and it has been since,
Okay, well, obviously you have
20s.
some issues that are coloring your thing, but
Right.
this is.
and we've been
But
here
when
75
I go,
years.
when I go,
Yeah, I was
I'm
born
sorry,
here.
what's your name again?
Jane Booth.
Ms. Booth. When I go, I will take your concerns into consideration.
Yeah,
Take a
yeah,
look.
just take a look,
I certainly will.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
anybody else?
Michelle, would you care to continue reading that if there are more?
Yep, there's just one more who's Jeffrey Sobel and Stacy Jarrett, and they also sent in a letter, but theirs was in support of the project.
Okay, here we go. Jude?
If there is an issue with trees, how would the applicant feel about replanting trees?
I don't think this is highly relevant, but I will say that we're members of the National Arbor Society. We have, all the work that we've done on our property so far has been to restore the native woodland that we live on. The clearing that they're alleging was done over the last 20 years by the prior owner, who told us when we bought the house, the riding club is fine.
Okay,
if you're
we're
keeping
going
it
into that
clear.
area, I don't.
I'm just
know.
saying,
Yeah.
I know, I know.
Wait,
I
try to
wait.
resolve this,
No,
and I will
no,
continue to
No,
try.
just answer the question, but we do have the right to do a condition if we see that plantings might help under these circumstances or other circumstances that we feel are.
You're talking about on our property?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like in
Yeah,
other
absolutely.
words,
We could do that as a condition possibly, but.
Yes.
that
If you
may-
see a need, please ask.
Yeah,
Huh?
we've already ordered
If you see
some
the need,
trees to
ask us
come,
to.
and we
Okay,
can
great.
plant
Yeah,
them.
I'll discuss it, you know.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can, even though the public hearing's closed, I can talk to you,
Okay.
you know.
But we have about 20 trees on order to be delivered in the right timing when the company decides it's time to deliver them. And I'm happy to consider the location of those trees based on what would appease the neighbors.
That's probably a good idea. Okay,
thank you.
so we may not even see the need, so
The clearing is really for the
I
house.
just wanted to bring
not
that up.
studio.
Right. Well,
Studio is tucked into the trees.
all the leaves will be there, I won't even have to use my imagination. It's a good time of year, so there aren't any other, is there anybody else in the public wish to speak on this case? And this person is waiting for their case, and with that, I think you've heard much, you guys know the spiel, so, we'll try and, we try to be as quick as we can, we do have 62 days to render a decision. And we try to beat that, so, we'll do our best. And I'll be doing.
If you have questions, email me. And
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I can
Do
give
we
you a call.
move to close the public hearing?
Yes, that's it. So with that, Mike's request, we'd like to close the public hearing. Do I have a
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Ayes have it. Good. And with that, we are going to recess case
Thank you.
number.
Thank you for coming
Have a good
in.
night.
313. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And moving on. Thank you, sir. Take care of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Moving on, ZBA case 2314, application of Julia Kafka. Kofke or Kofke? Key. Julia Kofke, property located at 36 Whitney Drive, Woodstock, New York. 12498, a 0.88 acre parcel located within an R3 zoning district for variances from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock. Article 4, area and bulk regulations, modification required, yard, section 260-32. Fences, walls, and gates to allow the construction of an 8-foot high deer fence in the front yard where only a 4-foot fence is allowed in section 260-32, D3A, fences, walls, and gates. Allow the construction of an 8-foot high deer fence in the rear and side yard where only a 6-foot fence is allowed in order a native garden.
Yes, so when I moved out here 7 years ago, I decided the first thing to do would be to join the Master Gardeners with Cornell Cooperative Extension. And I wanted to build a native garden similar to what I had done in my previous property, but this is a bigger property. The deer have turned out to be a huge deterrent in doing this because they just love to snap on everything I want to plant, almost everything. So I have spoken to a designer who does gardens, especially natives, and they suggested that I put in a serious fence. So according to the information that I've been able to come up with, 8 feet is the advised height for these. And what I want to do is not put up a solid fence, but an open wire fence. And then my plan would be to plant both shrubs and small trees that would grow up on both sides. So eventually the whole thing would kind of disappear. And it'll take a little bit of time. There is a solid wood fence partway between, I didn't think to bring diagrams, but partly way between my place and the next place over. That's been there. It was there before I moved in.
And how
there's
tall
another-
is that fence?
It's probably 6, yeah. And the deer don't jump over these because they're solid and they can't see what's on the other side. But in this case, I was hoping to make something that would be as unobtrusive as possible, in case any of the neighbors weren't happy with the aesthetic of a fence. Because to have a solid fence all the way around would be really, really block the view. Now, this is all very open, especially toward the road between all the properties. There's hardly any distinction of the property line at all.
Do you have neighbors on either side of your
I have
property?
neighbors on all 4 sides. So the neighbors across the street and behind me all said, sounds like a great idea, go ahead. This neighbor over here is not happy at all. I think he may have misunderstood that I was not going to put a solid fence up. But his response was that he will not endanger the safety of his grandchildren.
Excuse me, Gordon.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we don't want to talk about your neighbors thing right now, because we're
Okay.
gonna get that,
Thank
we did get some letters.
Yeah,
But what I would like to know is, if I missed it, excuse me, but what is the fence being constructed of?
it's a wire, it's metal wire, and it's usually about 6-inch openings. And it gets strung between, it doesn't have to have very many,
Galvanized or?
Yes, yeah, because it'll last.
Why
longer.
does it have to be 8 feet?
Oh, and what are the, and,
Because that's what the deer.
well,
will
I'm
jump
still
over.
asking a question.
Sorry.
And what are the posts holding it up?
The posts, I believe, are gonna be wood and sunken cement
Mhm.
with
Pre-
gravel below.
Pressure treated,
Yeah.
cedar,
Pressure
pressure
treated,
treated like 4x4s.
probably, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Marcia.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Why does it have to be 8 feet?
Oh, why does it have to be 8
Because
feet?
that's what everybody says the deer won't jump over. If you could put a 6-foot fence and they can see there's no obstruction on the other side, they'll go over. It does keep some of the little ones out, but the full-grown ones can take it. And that goes also for the 4-foot fence. Now, I was told today that one possibility would be along the road where the rule is the 4-foot fence, that if I put two a certain distance apart,
Right.
that could discourage them as well. And I would certainly be willing to try that if even a 6-foot along the road is not something that the board wants to deal with.
Okay.
I mean, 6 would be better than 8, but if I have to go the double way, I can probably do that
You
too.
can go legally 6 around the sides like that.
Right, but I was hoping for 8 on that.
Right.
I mean, the codes allows you to put a fence around a garden, but not around the whole property.
Well, you can't put it around, close the main structure in the codes.
Okay, so it's going to be, my plan is that it will go from the back of the house across to where the other fence ends. And then in the front, it will only go around this area here because this fence was already existing. So it doesn't quite enclose the whole house because this is open over here. And there's a way to get through over here, and there will be gates on all sides. But the only way I can put in plants that are worth planting and not have them destroyed is something that will really keep them out. That's anyway. And also there's a whole space here that goes all the way through from one road to the private road behind, where we're going to plant something yummy for them to eat.
Any questions from the board? Any other questions from the board? Jude?
How far away is this from your property line?
Let's
Do
see.
you know?
This here,
Measurement from this line?
Yeah,
To that
it's,
line?
I don't know exactly, but it's
Yeah.
probably, I paced out the 20 feet that might be needed over here.
Mhm.
Just like in my house to see how far it was. And it was about 10 of my paces, so it's probably twice that. It's a big, there's a big swath of open.
So it'd be
space
20
there.
feet, at least 20 feet away.
I would think so. Oh, yeah, at least.
Is, we get a lot of these requests, and if you grant a variance to one person, then it sets a precedent for
Mhm.
everyone else that
Yeah,
comes
we're
in.
working several more. So we also need a representative on this case. I'm looking at the TV screen.
You want me? Are you asking for me?
The fence person. Would you like this one?
I love it.
Good.
I'm the
So,
only one here who's on the screen.
Thanks, lady.
Please don't.
I'm the garage lady.
Well, you know where to look in the book.
I do.
And have
That's
you,
that section of the law. Okay.
I know this eliminates you having the plantings in the front. Have you considered any kind of like making that your fenced in area?
In the back.
Or would there be some other way to like separate the front and back and be able to enclose them, the front and the back, and maybe not the side or something like that? Would that be possible? Only because right now.
You have
Well, maybe
plantings in
that
here.
would be good.
Yes.
That would be good to do on the site visit with Jude. We might really benefit meeting on this one to see. We don't have the drawing is minimal, so it might be good to go over and meet Ms. Kopke.
Yeah, I'd love to do.
To go over what exactly she's proposing.
And there's-
perhaps, and we can even put a condition in if need be, that would, remedy this, whatever, but I'll leave that up to you. If at all. Okay? So I think we have your number.
I believe so,
Yeah, we have your phone number.
yeah. Okay.
So Jude probably give you a call, right, Jude?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, good.
And I
So,
mean, I'd be happy to consider any, adjustments where I can still have my big garden. That's
Well,
really what I want.
Could you fence in an area in the back that would just be for the garden?
Yeah, and then I'd have to do the same thing in the front because I don't want them to be able to get from the back to the front where the garden is, if you see what I mean.
okay, well, I
Let me
think
think about
it's,
that.
I think Jude would be a little better. It's
Jude's-
kind of hard for me to visualize all this
Mhm.
without seeing it.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good idea.
So. Okay,
All right.
so with that, I'd like to have the contiguous neighbors read. Michelle? Michelle, do we have you?
Yes. William I'm sorry if I butcher this name,
Kozlowskis,
Kozlowskis.
yes.
They sent a letter of objection. I'm not sure if they're present and if they want to speak.
I am present.
Oh,
Okay, sir, go ahead.
Yes, first let me say that I don't like being in a position to being objecting to this. Julie is a very nice person. She's my neighbor. But if you stroll down Whitney Lane, there's not a single fence in the front yard. I think we can all imagine what it would look like if we put a wire fence around the entire perimeter of the property. Oh, it's very unsightly. In the documents submitted, there is no setback from the road, which presents a problem to me for safety reasons coming out of my driveway, people coming down the road. Even a wire fence will obscure vision to people coming down the road at higher speeds than they should. And I have a 4- and 6-year-old grandchildren that play out in the yard and drive in the driveway with their bikes and their four-wheelers. And I think that if this were to happen, the appeal of my property to potential buyers would be a lot less of a group, and it would hurt my property value. I think that there's an abundance of other solutions. I think that Julia knew the deer were here when she moved in, so that's not a surprise. And I think that the existing codes also provide some protection for police and fire resources that would not be preserved if this was allowed to go through. I could say a lot more, but I'm sure you don't really want to hear it. But I really urge.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, I urge the board to deny the request.
All right, well, thank you for sharing, and thank you for your alacrity.
Thank you.
So continue, Michelle, if you will.
Peter Otogrosso, and I believe he is online as well. He also sent in a letter of objection.
Peter.
I'm
Hello?
here, Michelle.
I think you're freezing up a little.
Yeah, can you hear me? And
Yes, we can.
Okay.
okay,
Go right ahead.
sure. Well, I feel the same way as my previous neighbor mentioned. I've had a good relationship with Julia. I certainly support the idea of native gardens. I have, as I mentioned to her when we spoke, several native plants growing on my property that have not been abused by the deer. I have a small vegetable garden in the backyard. I do surround that with a deer fence, but it's invisible, pretty much invisible from the road. But I have a very similar concern to, was it William who spoke before me? Yeah. About, first of all, just the idea of an 8-foot fence in this neighborhood is
Ugly.
it's ugly. Let's face it. But also, there were a couple of houses on the block that have small vegetable gardens in the front of their house. As I mentioned to Julie, I think the the highest fence on one of them is 4 or 5 feet, and that's contained within, that's not a fence circling the entire property. It's contained within a small portion of it, and they grow they seem to have no problem with deer. So I'm not sure, I've dealt with deer the whole time I've been here, more than 23 years now. And I've certainly found that a 6-foot fence, even around the garden, keeps them out for the most part. And I said to Julia, there are other options. There are, if you want to plant small deer-resistant shrubs around there, they could be individually fenced with a standard, with a small vinyl deer fencing, where it wouldn't create a kind of united front or a block that would, obscure vision. Also, wondering, am I just being too punctilious about this? I spoke to a couple of realtors who I've known for many years in this area and have also lived and worked here as realtors about their input. And they both said that this was something that would substantially reduce the sale value of my own home, because it's something that prospective buyers in their experience don't want to see. They don't want to see one house next to a prospective house to purchase that stands out and that has something that is basically an eyesore, or basically sets out from the rest of the block. Particularly, as you'll see, Gordon and Jude, when you go down the block, it's pretty open. All of the yards are open except for, as I mentioned, those 2 yards that have enclosed gardens that are relatively small. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the backyard. Although again, I would think a 6-foot fence would do fine there, but I wouldn't see it, and I don't think it would detract necessarily from the resale value of my home. But just the idea of a fence that size, and there's one side, I can't see the map, of course, but there's one side of her driveway which is contiguous to my property where she said she wasn't going to put a fence. There's already individual plants that are fenced in separately there, which is what my preference would be for. She wants to have that kind of garden. But I'm also willing to, listen to what you have to say when you go out to, check on the property and see what the situation is and what the alternatives are, because I really just don't think.
Well, we usually don't bring neighbors into these meetings, but if you have a relationship with Ms. Gotke, you could certainly, she could share with you if there's anything she wishes to on what may the solution be. But you'd be privy if we do grant the variance, and I don't know where this is going right now, and but we will take all this into consideration, certainly. I think we understand that, and we understand the zoning law, and we're dealing with a lot of these right now. So this isn't a new thing for us. So we're certainly take all that into consideration. And Jude?
I just want to say that I know it's really difficult when you have neighbors and somebody wants to do something that you don't necessarily agree with, if they're asking for a special consideration. And so I just want to say, I know how difficult that is. I know that's difficult for the applicant. I know that's difficult for the neighbors, and whatever happens, I hope you guys can keep a peaceful coexistence. I know how hard it is to speak out against somebody that you live right near. But I hope everybody understands that this is not personal. And that
No, at least nobody's mentioned lawyers in this case, so I'm happy for that.
I've had this situation and I know how hard it is to speak about it. And I, just want to say, I mean, that's a really difficult thing to do. So thank you for what you have to say.
Okay. So if there's isn't anything else,
Wait.
oh, there's more?
Yes, Wayne and Joanne Miller, 35 Whitney Drive. William Smith, 158 Whitney Lane. And we got another letter of objection from 37 Whitney Drive. She's not a direct contiguous neighbor. Her corner meets like the northeast corner of the property, but she sent in also a letter of objection.
She's on Whitney Lane.
Whitney Drive.
We drive.
The letter's in the folder, Gordon.
Okay.
Whitney Drive, right?
Yes.
37 Whitney Drive?
Yeah, mine is 36. So 37 would be across the street.
Sounds like it.
But I'm not sure which way.
Okay, well, with that, Jude will be in touch with you. Sounds like she's gonna have to meet you
Yeah.
really to parse this out.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Jude, yes?
Just in terms of your availability.
I have a lot of ability right now, so, I can be pretty flexible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So with that, we would like to close the public hearing. And again, we can still receive written word letters of objection or support, anything like that. And if there's so with that, I would like to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Ayes have it. And we will also recess case number, like, wait, three papers.
2314.
2314, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
All right, so that's it for that. We have some decisions to read and.
So if I have additional comments, should I talk to Jude when she arrives?
Yeah, you can talk to
best?
Jude, yeah,
Okay.
we're just not doing a public hearing anymore. Public
Yeah,
hearing.
okay.
Additional comments from the applicant?
No, she just wants if she can talk to you. I said, yes, you will meet and you will
Oh,
talk.
of course. And she can also write to the board if she has other things she wants to say.
Okay.
Yeah,
More than
yeah, you
welcome.
can write anything down, but you can speak one-on-one. It's not a quorum.
Right.
It's not a public meeting.
Sure, yeah.
It's, if you met three of us on the property, then that would be a meeting.
Okay.
So that would be a quorum. But you can meet Jude and you can discuss it and you can show her what you're planning. I think it'll be a little better in person than what we were able to look at here. So, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks. All right, we have some decisions. I would like to open ZBA case 2305 for Peter Yarrow. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And anybody, Jude, anybody wish to discuss this case before voting on the resolution? No?
It was just eyeing.
Huh? You were eyeing, yes. I got that. It's just, I looked up and it was a lingering eye. Okay, the resolution, based upon the standards for consideration of area variances set forth in section 260-103B of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, a request to allow an accessory apartment under section 260-60 and a variance from section 260-16 attachment 2 to allow a 545 square foot of lot coverage where only 240 square feet is allowed, is hereby denied, subject to all requirements of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, New York State real property law, and all other applicable laws, codes, and regulations. Vote is as follows: Gordon, aye. Mike Stiglione,
Aye.
Judith Salado,
Aye.
Joseph Bellak is absent, Marcia Zwilling,
Aye.
Martin Mills is absent. The resolution was adopted by a vote of 4 in favor, none opposed, 1 absent, and none abstaining. Okay. Right. So I'd like to close ZBA case 2305. Second,
Second,
all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
The ZBA case 2306, I would like to open. Do I have a second?
Second,
In favor?
aye.
Okay, we have a resolution. Does anybody wish to speak about this case before we read the resolution? No. Okay, based upon the standards for consideration of area variances and conditional upon compliance with stated representations, area variances from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 4, area and bulk regulations, section 260-14. The application for a 30-foot infringement into a modified front yard setback to construct a 24 by 24 two-story car garage with storage is hereby granted. Subject to all requirements of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, New York State real property law, and all other applicable laws, codes, and regulations. Vote is as follows. Gordon Webb, aye. Mike Castiglione.
Yes.
Judith Salado.
Aye.
Joseph Bellak is absent. Marcia Zwilling.
Yes, aye.
Martin Mills is absent. Mike. Alexis. The resolution is adopted by 4 in favor, none opposed, and 1 absent and none abstaining. With that, I'd like to close ZBA case 2306. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to open up ZBA case 2309 Bartolomeo Battaglia. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody wish to discuss the case before we read the resolution?
Hey, can I mention something? Because,
No.
but I completely didn't hear the case for Yarrow, and that's my project.
What do you mean you didn't hear it?
It went so fast, I couldn't tell what was going on.
It was denied, Mark.
It was denied,
Yes.
and I wasn't given an opportunity to speak about it.
No, we don't have open a public hearing on cases at this point. Public hearing was closed. I'm sorry if you waited around to discuss that, but that's we're not allowed to have a public hearing on anything like this, reopen a public hearing, which would be if we discuss this case, because it has to be advertised in all publications if we reopen a public hearing on a case.
Do I have recourse on this?
Yeah, but you can appeal it. You can Article 78 the town on it. You can get the paperwork from Michelle tomorrow. It'll all be there in the resolution of the statement of why, you know, on the 5 conditions of why it was not granted.
Terribly disappointed.
Excuse me?
I'm terribly disappointed.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Mark. Moving on. We are on case 2309.
No, we didn't do,
What? I opened it.
oh, did we do 07 and 08?
No, we're not voting on those.
Oh, okay. I
We
didn't
don't have
realize.
those. No. Middle 2309.
Okay,
The case is open right now, and I'm about to read a resolution. Based upon the standards for consideration of area variances and conditional upon the compliance of stated representations, area variances from the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, Article 4, area and bulk regulations, section 260-16, with 260B attachment 2, the application for a 22-foot infringement into a required 50 side yard setback to construct a 1-car, 216 square foot garage is hereby granted, subject to all the requirements of the zoning law of the town of Woodstock, New York State real property law, and all other applicable laws, codes, and regulations. The vote is as follows. Gordon Lamb, aye. Mike Castiglione. Aye. Judith Salado.
Aye.
Joseph Bellak absent. Marcia Zwilling.
aye.
Martin Mills is absent. The resolution was adopted 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 absent, and 0 abstaining. With that, I would like to close ZBA case 2309. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I would like to open up ZBA case 2311, Brian Roths. Do I have a second?
Second,
Anybody wish to discuss this before I read the interpretation? We have an interpretation as to whether the CEO, Francis Hoffman, properly applied the Woodstock zoning law as per permit denial letter dated 2/13/23. The ZBA of Appeals finds that, little error there, the fines, crossing off the first fines. The zoning board of appeals finds that, one, as per section 260-60B, that the applied for accessory apartment requires a minimum 5 acres due to the property's R5 designation was properly applied and would require a variance as stated by the ZEO. Number two, as per section 260-60E and F, that the applied for accessory apartment exceeds the allowable size was properly applied and would require a variance as stated by the ZEO. The interpretation does not exclude the applicant from applying for a variance on these issues. Vote is as follows. Gordon Wynn, aye. Mike Castiglione,
Yes.
Drew Salata,
Hi,
Joseph Bellak absent, Marcia Zwilling,
Aye.
Martin Mills absent. The interpretation was adopted by a vote of 4 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 absent, and 0 abstaining. We have one other issue that we'd like to bring up. We have a letter from Mrs. Gray Boys, and that was the house over on, the address isn't here, but it was that salt box house, variance 22-1 and 51222, the one by the school there off of, she's building the porch.
Yes.
She just wishes to, she applied for a variance, but she's had trouble getting contractors, and she was going to change everything, but she's kept it the way it is, but she wants to get an extension on her variance, so.
I thought she withdrew the variance.
She's keeping what she originally applied for. She was talking about increasing it, she backed off of that, but she's just had problems getting drawings and contractors and everything, so she just wishes to get an extension.
Was the variance approved?
Yes.
I thought her son was her contractor.
What's that?
I think her son was her contractor.
I don't know.
There's boilerplate language in the variance that says it's good for a year.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever sat down and discussed as a group what that time frame.
well,
should
it was
be.
5/12, so she said that, yeah, so.
So, I mean, I
So-
think that's something we could easily extend or not include.
Right, so we can vote to extend it right now.
Okay.
I think we did that a few weeks ago, didn't we?
We've run into this before. It's
Yeah.
Not the.
So-
first
Had a
time
couple.
we've done it. Yeah, I mean, things, time flies.
So let's vote to extend it 1 year. I'm gonna vote aye. Michael Castiglione, you,
Hi,
Marcia,
Aye.
Joseph is absent, Martin is absent. We vote 4 in favor. No. Opposed.
And I don't think the time is, I think it's up like next week, so I'll do it as of that day, moving forward 1 year.
1 year. From
Because I
termination.
send them a letter and I send the building department a letter as well.
And Michelle, for case 09, the one for Bartolome, can you send him that decision?
Oh yeah, in the mail, because he doesn't use email.
Actually,
Yes.
it's over tomorrow. 5/12 is the.
Oh, okay,
Is
perfect.
that one on
22.
212, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a no.
Okay, just a quick request, when you write your decision, if you could do me a favor and put the case at the top of your 5 criteria and your name.
Okay.
So I know, because, and that's go back to the email and see, and I don't know where, I open all these files on my desk and I go, oh wait, which was this, and I don't even know what case it is. So if
Okay.
you just put just the case number and your name, and that way, if I'm looking at it, I have a quick question that you call, so appreciate that. Jude?
I have 2 things. One is Michelle submitted another set of minutes for our last meeting for us to approve. Can we go ahead and approve those?
We approved the ones from 420 from the special meeting.
I think she submitted a second set.
I didn't see them. I don't think, did anybody else see the ones from 427?
I did.
We'll get them next time.
Okay, and then my second thing was talking about the,
I didn't see them here either. I only saw the old minutes from 420.
I know, I submitted them last minute and I ran out of the office and I forgot to print them out.
Yeah, I looked for them, and if you'd had them, if they were here, we might have voted. But
I know, sorry about
I
that.
didn't go to any more emails today.
What was
okay,
the
second thing, if I can.
Please.
Was discussing we had talked about this a while ago, and I don't know if you want to talk about it or not tonight, Gordon, but we had talked about when somebody submits a request for an interpretation, having a look at it before we make any decisions to see whether or not we want to require an escrow.
Right. I would like to, yeah, I think we need to talk to the fiduciary people in town to kind of figure out the best way to set that up. I don't, I think we should be able to take a look and ask, because $50 is not much, and some of these interpretations can be, quite involved. We had somebody this week that thought we can interpret the law on the dumping, illegal dumping in Shady. So, yes. So we're going to put that in. We're also, Jude and I are going to work on a letter, hopefully that we can get signed off by the ZBA in regards to this housing thing. We've been talking back and forth, and Jude's going to draft a letter. I'm going to look at it. We'll distribute it. And I'd like to talk to you about that too, Michael. Yeah, bring you in on that.
great.
So, as you're on the committee, we have some questions in that. So,
I also would like to give an example of what happened in Austin with this kind of proposal.
All right, well, we'll all discuss.
Okay.
Jude's going to draft, get a draft going, and then we'll pass it around.
Okay, great.
and see what we can do.
Everybody should weigh in.
Excuse me, yeah, well, definitely. We want everybody to be a part of this. So, yeah, because the WEC submitted their thing. So I think we should, because how it affects us, nobody sees it as much as we do. So,
Yeah.
all right, so with that, anything else? Great, so without any further objection, I would like to adjourn tonight's meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Thank you all very much. Michelle, thanks again.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Night.
So we stop.